Bam. My peoples. My peoples. Abdullah Mason versus Jeremia Nakathila. It went down the way it was supposed to, obviously, but Abdullah Mason did in spectacular fashion, my peoples. Most of us expected him to win. Obviously, he was the favorite. But the way that it played out, Abdullah showed out. Gotta give him his credit. Y'all already know, my peoples. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center, your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. Let's talk about it, my peoples. Let's talk about it. Is Abdullah Mason ready for a title shot? I mean, what can you say based off of that performance? What can you really say? Abdullah was very sharp. The jab was like a whip. Liam, salute my brother. And there's already people trying to downplay his performance. Like, oh, Nakathila's not all that, blah, blah, blah. It's always going to be the haters. It's always going to be the people that want to try to find a negative angle about the fighter. But, Abdullah Mason was spectacular. And he wasn't expecting, you got to think about that. He wasn't expecting to be on the main event. He didn't know that. And you can't even imagine the type of pressure that is added on to you when the day before the fight, they're like, oh yeah, this isn't going to happen, so you're going to be the main event, buddy. Let's get it. Get ready. Be ready for that. You're the main event now. Liam, Mason put on an amazing performance. That's what I'm talking about, my brother. Because if you think about it, he was planning on being, it's on you, buddy. Yo, that's added pressure right there. And I was thinking to myself, and we spoke about it in the live yesterday, what if, he tries to overdo it and make some crazy mistakes? Because if he was really watching the fight, Nakathila got power. He got a very strong right hand. And he throws it, a straight right hand and a looping right hand. He does it as a lead too. He'll lead with that. Boom. And Abdullah Mason just did a very good job defensively. In fact, this may be his best defensive performance. He looked real sharp on both sides, my peoples, offense and defense. On Lace, salute, my G. La verdadera pámpara, you already know, my brother. El voltaje, aquí es que está. But yeah, my peoples, Abdullah Mason, is he ready for a title shot? That's the magic question. I ask you guys, do you think Abdullah Mason is ready to fight a champion? Or, you know what? Keyshawn Davis' title, what was his title, is going to be vacant. So, Abdullah Mason, they had already said that he was going to be mandated for that WBO title. Since Keyshawn Davis got stripped, that belt is going to be vacant. And let's see. Let's see who's going to fight Abdullah Mason for that strap. But that's what I foresee happening. Abdullah Mason is going to fight somebody. In his very next fight, I expect him to be fighting for that vacant strap. I can tell you that right now. And he's ready. That's it. Young boy, my peoples. Abdullah Mason is 21 years old. He just turned 21 like a month ago, something like that, recently. And you see, man, you see how he's doing it. Abdullah Mason is for real. I want to see how is it going to play out, with him becoming a world champion at the 135-pound division. Because I promise you, my peoples, that WBO title that Keyshawn Davis got stripped off of, Abdullah Mason is going to be fighting for that vacant title. Watch. So can we see Abdullah Mason unifying titles with Shakur Stevenson? Could that happen? Or is Shakur Stevenson also gonna vacate at 135 and move up to 140? Let's see. But it's interesting to see how it's gonna play out because, you know, there was that possibility that we was gonna get Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis. It looked like it was possibly gonna happen. And there you go. Keyshawn Davis didn't make weight to fight Edwin De Los Santos, and therefore we know he's going to the 140 division next. That's it. It's over with that. We're definitely not gonna get Abdullah Mason versus Keyshawn Davis. Abdullah's gonna be pursuing that title, that WBO strap, which is gonna be vacant. Hi, now, do you like rap? Yes, I like rap, my brother, but this is a boxing channel, my G. We talking boxing. The Mexican G. What up, champ? What's the deal, the Mexican G? Bam. Appreciate you dropping in, my brother. I lost respect for Keyshawn Davis. What a coward. I mean, that was a horrible, decision that they made to go in this kid's locker room and bully him, basically. Now, I will tell you, it is being exaggerated. The way that they portrayed it, that they jumped him and they beat him up, it wasn't like that. So, two things happened. One, somebody grabbed him right here, and two, Keyshawn Davis headbutted him, and that's it. That was it right there. That was it. No punches was thrown. He wasn't slammed around or nothing like that. Now, I'm not trying to justify. Don't get it twisted. Keyshawn and his brother, they made a horrible mistake. Horrible mistake. Ozzy, let's go. We joined the stream early for once. What's good, Jay? What's good, Ozzy? Bam. Appreciate you dropping in, my G. Jaina Gadoli, are you rich? No. Feel free to send me some money. On Lace, they also got the brother, the crowd. I don't know what you meant on Lace. They also got two Nahir brother in the crowd. Oh, okay, okay. Ooh, he got hands put on him in the crowd too. Damn. Yeah, it got nasty, it got nasty. And look, that's not gonna look good on Keyshawn Davis and his brothers, just because they got their own company, they being, more organized, more professional. This is not a bad look for that. So they're gonna have to work on some PR. The Mexican G, they made it sound like he got stomped out. Yeah, bro. The way they made it sound, I thought, Keyshawn and the whole entourage ran up in there and everybody was Timberland. He got Timberland up and everything. And he said himself, somebody grabbed me and then Keyshawn was in my face, headbutted me. That's it. Those two things happened. So, they let their emotions get the best of them. I think they should apologize and definitely be more professional going forward. On Lace, yes, they put hands on him first. That's not what he said, my brother. He spoke out of his own mouth. Even the reporter tried to get him to say that they put hands on him. The reporter was like, yeah, but they hit you, right? They hit you. And he was like, nah, it was only somebody grabbed me here and Keyshawn headbutted me. He said it himself, my guy. Ozzy, what you think about the whole weight situation? Edwin didn't care about the weight. He wanted to fight. He wanted to fight, but I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. As, once Keyshawn didn't make weight, they were negotiating, a weight clause so he wouldn't go too high. And they was also talking about how much money is going to be for the penalty. And in those negotiations and reviewing contracts and all that, they figured out if Edwin De Los Santos chose not to fight, he was going to get his full purse because Keyshawn Davis didn't make weight. So once they realized that shit, they was like, yo, fuck it. We saw what Ryan Garcia did to Devin Haney after showing up 3 pounds overweight. This dude showed up 4 pounds overweight. And if we don't fight him, we're gonna get the full purse. So for those of you who don't know, Edwin De Los Santos actually got his full fight purse, as if he fighting, as if he fought. So he got all his money. So once they realized, wait a minute, so we could get our money without having to fight, let's not fight. This guy showed up 4 pounds overweight. It's not fair. They got their money. The Mexican G, I think Edwin would have won the fight. You could think that, my brother, but his people don't believe you. His people specifically brought up, look what happened with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney with 3 pounds. He's 4 pounds more. We got to worry about our fighter, if he could get hurt in a fight like that. So his people didn't see him winning it, bro. He was going to get knocked out. Ugly. He was going to be filthy. Ozzy, yeah, 4 pounds. And he looked ripped. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, Keyshawn was saying it throughout the training camp. I'm going to knock him out. He going to sleep. He was going in there with bad intentions, bro. Jaina Gandolfi. But he put hands on him first. I don't know, man. That's not what he said. They interviewed the guy, and he said that they did not hit him. It was just somebody grabbed him by the neck, and Keyshawn headbutted him. They painted the story like Keyshawn and his whole team beat the crap out of the guy. I was like, damn, dude, what happened? But I will say, look, Keyshawn Davis, he's still wrong for doing that, and his brother. They're wrong for putting their hands on Buddy. I don't care if they started arguing, because what bro said is that their locker rooms was right next to each other. So they were celebrating, and I guess Keyshawn and his people heard it, and they didn't like it. They went over there, and boom, this shit hit the fan. But I think it was wrong, obviously, for Keyshawn to do that. On Lace, it's just a bad look for DB3. I agree with you, my brother. It's a bad look, They've been real professional. They've been legit to do something like this. On Lace, it was all set up for the De Los Santos to lose. I'm happy for him taking the money. He took the money. He was going to get beat up, probably knocked out. Ugly. Took the money, didn't have to take a beating. So, yeah. Out here in Dominican Republic, in the newspapers, they're saying Edwin De Los Santos wins the fight without throwing a single punch because he got his money, right? He got paid. That's like getting paid without having to go to work. Your full paycheck. The Mexican G, his team just wanted an even playing field. Keyshawn had to try and cheat to get an advantage. The Mexican G, you don't know that he was trying to cheat. It could honestly be that he just can't make weight. If we see him fighting in the 140 division next, then it doesn't mean that he was trying to cheat. It could just be that he couldn't make it. That happens, bro. And Keyshawn is a young guy in his mid-20s getting bigger. So it's reasonable to believe it. Unlaced. Now De Los Santos is a millionaire in Dominican Republic. Well deserved, yo. Guy has money. Guy has paper. Jaime Gandolfi. It was probably set up. Liam. What's the perfect next fight for Mason? I mean, I believe that Abdullah Mason is going to be fighting for a vacant title, my brother. You know that the WBO stripped Keyshawn Davis. That's going to be vacant. So I believe in his very next fight, he's going to fight for that vacant strap. That's why I asked earlier, are we going to see Abdullah Mason and Shakur Stevenson in a unification bout at the 135 division? Y'all tell me. Ozzy, it don't make sense to come in 4 pounds over. He must have known. I mean, at one point, he must have known that he couldn't make it. Of course. Of course, at some point, he knew he wasn't going to make it. He was like, yo, we're going to have to pay up whatever the penalty is gonna be. On Lace, Heina Defa setup. Izzy, he was coming in a whole different weight class, diabolical. Not necessarily though, because remember they was working on a rehydration clause, and Keyshawn Davis wasn't gonna be able to gain as much weight as Edwin De Los Santos. Why? Because think about it, he's already weighing 139, and the weight clause is 145. That means Keyshawn Davis can only gain 6 pounds. Edwin De Los Santos, who made 134, he'll be able to gain 11 pounds to get to that 145. So he'll be more comfortable, in gaining those 11 pounds. So that's something to consider too. They was working on something out. It's just that they realized, you know what? If we could get our whole paycheck without fighting, why fight somebody who showed up 4 pounds overweight? Nah, let's get paid. That's it. He made a business decision. Heina Gaddafi. Maybe they have anger issues because they went over to him when they were celebrating. I mean, the thing is that their locker rooms were right next to each other. So, these dudes got mad. They got mad. And that's how it played out. Liam, why they didn't give him a chance to cut weight real quick? It's so easy to cut 4 pounds. Now, you're wrong, my brother. And I'm going to say why. It's easy to cut 4 pounds if you're overweight. But if you're cutting weight and you're already at your low, where you're starving and still not losing weight, you ain't cutting no 4 pounds. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. That's it. You're stuck. That's it. At that point, for you to cut weight, you got to do unhealthy stuff. You got to do stuff that's not going to affect your health. So that's it. You could get to a point where you just can't do it anymore. And I'm telling you that by experience, my brother, because I dealt with that. Ozzy, it could just be that Keyshawn didn't dehydrate himself, whether he wanted to or not. Some fighters can drop a lot of pounds by losing water weight. That's facts, my brother. Branyo Romero, you think Edwin will fight for a title anytime soon? If Edwin fights Abdullah, he will beat Abdullah. He's still green. We may actually get Edwin De Los Santos versus Abdullah Mason for that vacant strap. And I tell you that simply because Edwin De Los Santos was going to get a title shot right now. He lost out on that title. Even obviously he got his money, but he lost out on the title shot because, the WBO stripped Keyshawn for the weight situation and whatnot. So he should still be in the running for a title shot. They might just get Abdullah Mason for that vacant WBO strap. Let's see. Brian Romero, even though Abdullah is a great fighter. Heina Gandolfi, say hi. On Lace, he had to cut his dress off to make 135 his last fight. He knew he wasn't making that weight anymore. I'm telling you, man. That's it. When your body's growing at that age, that's it. You get to a point where you can even spend the whole day without eating. The whole day just water. Have a slice of tomato and gain 4 pounds and shit. Crazy, bro. Liam, you think he did it on purpose? Nah, honestly, I don't think he did it on purpose. I just think he couldn't make weight. I mean, don't get it twisted. It could be that by, let's say, Thursday, they're like, yo, we're not going to make weight. Let's just do the best we can. Let's try to get as close as we can. Fuck it. It could be that you're already not pushing the limit like that because you're not going to make weight. It's done. Oh, man, Heina. So, Heina, do I think he did it on purpose? Check this out. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to block you on purpose. On Lace, Jay Smith, cutting weight is a horrible feeling. I'm diabetic. I cut weight every doctor visit. Yo, cutting weight is not a joke. It's not a joke. And, I had to cut weight as a fighter, in the amateurs and when I made my pro debut. And I can tell you, it's not easy. It's not an easy process. And the older you get, the harder it is. That's another thing. Because I remember when I was 18 years old, cutting weight was like this. 5 pounds, nothing. 10, 15. But now, I'm telling you, once I get to a certain point, it's hard to cut weight. So, it's real talk on Lace. It's not easy. It's not an easy task. And like I said, man, look, Keyshawn Davis is going to be fighting at the 140-pound division next. That's what I expect. And if that happens, then we can say, yeah, look, he could have made weight. He's already at the next division. Why should we question whether or not he could make it? Or or assume the worst. Oh, yeah, he did it on purpose. He did it on purpose. Why assume the worst? He could have made weight. That's it. The fight didn't happen. Move on. Go to 140 and let's see who he's going to be his first opponent. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Because if you think about it, Keyshawn Davis just went through an entire training camp and obviously wasted money. But he's in fight shape. So they could get him, he could prepare for a fight at the 140 division soon. Soon, real soon. It's not going to take a long time. On Lace, Mason definitely cracking. He showed it last night. Bro, Abdullah Mason is a special young fighter. He's special. He's special. That's why, he deserves a title shot. Is it going to be Abdullah Mason versus Edwin De Los Santos for that vacant WBO strap? We're going to find out. Somebody earlier here in this live said, yo, he's too green and he's gonna get beat up by De Los Santos. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. Competitive, yes. Good fight, yes. Abdullah's winning that. Abdullah's winning that, my peoples. Now, what I'm asking myself, and I'm asking y'all, if Abdullah Mason, or when Abdullah Mason wins that vacant title, WBO, are we going to see Abdullah Mason and Shakur Stevenson in a unification bout? Abdullah Mason versus Shakur Stevenson. Because think about it, he was ready to fight Keyshawn Davis. He was ready for that action. We already know he's going to be mandated for that WBO strap. If Keyshawn Davis, was able to make weight, we would have been getting the businessman versus Abdullah. We would have been getting that later this year. But that fight isn't happening. Can we expect the appetite for that smoke, Abdullah Mason versus the Puerto Rican Poppy, Shakur Stevenson? We need codes to talk. If Abdullah Mason fights Shakur, that means he's better than Tank straight up. I mean, if he's willing to fight Shakur, that's it. You gotta say he definitely got more balls than Tank, that's for sure. Imada, Tio versus Keyshawn at 140. Thoughts? That's a good fight. I love that fight. I love it. But it looks to me like Teofimo Lopez is playing with the idea of pursuing a title in the welterweight division. So let's see where he's gonna land. for his next fight. But I love Keyshawn versus Tio. I love that fight. My peoples, I'm gonna drop off for this live. First off, I want to give everybody a shout out who came through. I appreciate you, my peoples. Y'all already know what it is, man. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. Don't forget to hit that like button, my peoples. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share these videos, on Facebook. Share the links and all that other shit. Liam, God bless my brother, my peoples. I'm out of here, yo. One love, salute to everybody in the building. Bam.